Nicola Bulley case, why did the senior investigating officer, the chief constable, and the assistant chief constable all retire or die within a couple of months of the COP report and Peter Falding's revelations about him saying he found Nicola Bulley? Why were the CCTV cameras not working when Princess Diana's car went into the French tunnel? Why did the US and the UK invade Iraq? On September the 11th, why did Tower 7 freefall in a manner resembling a controlled demolition? Why is Julia Wandell being locked up until October without bail? Why was Johnny Rotten banned from the BBC after speaking out about Jimmy Savile in 1978? Why was Russell Brand demonetized on YouTube a couple of years ago? Purely due to allegations. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel Break the Ice. I've had nearly a 2-week hiatus. Bit of sad news. Got 2 dogs. My oldest dog died, so been tending to a very upset, distraught daughter and pretty upset dad as well in myself. So I've been away for a little bit. But coming back with a bang, and I'm asking some questions. I'm just going to dive straight into this. Yeah, I'm just going to go straight into this video. While I was having a couple of weeks off and mourning and all that kind of stuff, I was keeping up to date with the Russell Brand case, and I also heard Julia Wandell spoke from prison. So I've been asking questions internally, as I always do. I'm always asking questions, thinking outside the box. It got me thinking about questions that I pondered for years, and I think that they're questions that a lot of people have pondered themselves, but don't really want to ask them publicly. This channel is about real life stories and getting to the truth of things, or try and get to the truth of things, and I don't mind asking these questions. I know a lot of you have had them on your mind. So let's just dive straight into it. Let's go. So yeah, 10 big questions that might make you think. To every question there is an answer. So the ones I'm going to say, we don't know what the answers are. Although, I do have my suspicion with quite a few of them. This is not a conspiracy list of questions. These are questions that, to me, lead down a little bit of a fishy road, in my opinion. Yeah? Let's see what you think. So the first question that I've got is, Windows on. So why was Russell Brand demonetized on YouTube a couple of years ago? Purely due to allegations, not charges. Now, was this a way to demoralize him and to see if he would quit with YouTube and stop doing the videos that he was doing? Back off. And if that was the reason, then it didn't work, because he continued. Demonetizing someone on YouTube because of accusations is a load of BS, innit? So anybody can accuse anybody of anything and you're immediately demonetized. You're immediately vilified. So straight away when I heard that a few years ago, I was like, that's a little bit suspicious. But it didn't stop him. He carried on. He went on to Rumble, but he still carried on YouTube regardless of being monetized. It kind of leads me on to question 2. Why didn't the charges against Russell Brand come about years ago, when he was mingling and conforming and being a part of the Hollywood clique? Why are they coming 20 to 26 years later by 4 different women? Now he's not a part of that scene, and he's actively raging against the machine, speaking out against the establishment. I've got some noisy neighbours, so excuse them. I just find it interesting that step 1 was demonetising through accusations. He didn't stop. If anything, it made him rage against the machine more and continue to call different things out, and his platform size grew and more people were listening to what he had to say. So is the demonetising him a way to make him quit, demoralise him. What's the point? But he didn't. So it's interesting then that 20 to 26 years later, there's 4 women coming out accusing him of RAPE and SA. Just makes you wonder, doesn't it? I've heard that these things come in free when you want to go for someone. First you cancel them, then you put charges on them and get them imprisoned. And if that don't work, good night, forever. There seems to be a bit of a pattern against people that are really influential and are calling stuff out. Another thing I just want to say about the Russell Brand charges and the allegations is that they were first made in a joint investigation by the Sunday Times, the Times and the Channel 4 dispatchers in September 2023. So a little powerhouse put together there to conduct this investigation against Russell Brand, and here we are now. And like I said, I've been thinking about the case while I've not been on YouTube for the past 2 weeks because he's been in court. He only went in court to, I think it was just to say his name and just basic details, no play or anything like that. Right, question 3. Why is Elon Musk, who is coincidentally the richest man on the planet, conducting highly influential speeches in the Oval Office, in the White House, while the President of the United States, Donald Trump, just sits there, saying nothing and just nodding like a nodding dog? When I first saw that, when I first saw that, and I saw Elon Musk stood up in the White House, and Trump sat down at the desk, if you didn't know he was the president, you'd definitely think it was Elon Musk. I've never ever known, bit of wind, I've never ever known anything like that. And isn't it interesting? He's the richest man in the world, making speeches in the most powerful house, if you will, in the world, the White House, in the most powerful country, while the president says nothing. Quite a force, that, isn't it? I don't know how healthy it is. Right, moving on to someone that we've interviewed a couple of times on this channel, and that is Julia Wandell. Why is Julia Wandell being locked up until October without bail for asking questions about her identity and turning up at an address in a non-aggressive manner? Now, I know it was in a non-aggressive manner because she sent me voice recordings of when she was there. I've heard the voice recording of when she was at the McCanns. I've heard Kate and I've heard Jerry. I won't disclose those on this channel. They didn't know that they were being recorded. Even if I got permission from Julia, they would not be going on this channel. There's certain things that I won't put on this channel. I'm not putting recordings of people that don't know they're being recorded. I'm not putting images, sonar images of Nicola Bulley on there. Many other channels have got those sonar images out there, so if you want to go and check them out, I'm sure you'll be able to find them somewhere, but it's not for this channel. And also pictures of the McCann's children, because there is a resemblance between Amelie and Julia, but I'm not putting Amelie up. Do you know what I mean? She's not put herself into the public eye. On that note, though, Julia does look like a Polish mother as well. It is a bit of a weird one. She does look like a Polish mother. It's got to be said. So anyway, why is Julia being locked up until October without bail? She was arrested in February. Now, regardless of who she is, if she's Maddie, if she's lying, or if she's just wrong, that isn't what I'm debating here. My point is that PDFs, domestic abusers and worse criminals, have been granted bail on multiple occasions. Yet she's been held on remand for 8 months. Then she goes to court, Crown Court, in October. Is she more of a threat than PDFs and SAs? And also, like I said, a few of these questions will have questions within. Why will no one assist her with doing this DNA test, which will literally prove who she is or she isn't? Nobody from a Polish family will do it. Nobody from the McCanns will do it. Now, I have said this a couple of times. The onus, responsibility falls on her Polish parents. They say that she's their daughter. Well, stop this shit and just prove it then. Just stop it. Because what it could do is she may go to prison for a short while for stalking and harassment. I can't imagine it being that long. It's not the most serious of crimes, is it? So I can't imagine it being that long that she would actually go inside. So let that time come and go. And in the meantime, get it proven that you're her parents and then get the help that she needs. Do you know what I mean? Almost any parent, and Julia's Polish mother is claiming to be just that, would just do the DNA test. Like I said, if it was my daughter and this was going on, I'd just do it. You would. I think most people would. Most parents would. You do anything to protect your child. So why won't she do it? And just a little add-on to that. Questions that I'm asking, which many people think, but not many people want to say or ask. Why did Kate McCann refuse to answer 48 questions as well? There's a video on this channel about those 48 questions. Go and check it out on the Madeleine McCann playlist. Right, we're at question 5. Right, now, Johnny Rotten of the Sex Pistols. Why was Johnny Rotten banned from the BBC after speaking out about Jimmy Savile in 1978? He said that he did his bit to alert the public about Jimmy Savile, but that his comments were never aired. We've since learned that he was one of, if not the most prolific PDFs the UK's ever seen. Why did the BBC protect Savile? Why have they protected others since? I've heard rumours. I've heard it on TV, not just like, Chinese whispers, but I've heard it on TV. I'm sure I've heard it on This Morning. Celebrities saying that there's another very high profile celebrity who many people in the TV industry know about, who's committed crimes similar to Jimmy Savile, yet no one will speak out about it. And I bet you my bottom dollar when that person dies, it will be all over the show. And we won't hear the end of what this person's done. No, not now. Not while they're alive. So there's someone out there apparently doing stuff like Jimmy Savile. Very, very high profile. Maybe much loved. Maybe a national treasure. We don't know. But apparently, it'll only come out when this person dies. Mad, isn't it? How many people know who this person is and why? Why is it being covered up? These questions need to be asked. And more importantly, these questions need answers. Will we ever get them? Don't know. There's a fine line between conspiracy theorist and someone that thinks outside the box and sees things differently and doesn't really trust everything that we hear in the mainstream media. Don't forget, by nature, humans are quite selfish. By nature, they are. Think about it. Who's number one in your world? It's you. Yeah? You may say it's your child, right? Okay. But if you don't look after yourself, you can't look after your child. So you are number one. So don't believe that everyone's got your best interests at heart. Because I don't believe that they do. And everybody is a main character in their own story. You're not the main character and someone else's. And number 6. On September the 11th. Why did Tower 7 freefall in a manner resembling a controlled demolition when it wasn't hit? By the way, this happened hours later. I think it happened at about 5 o'clock. Now, Why did it free fall in a manner resembling a controlled demolition when it wasn't even hit by a plane? And why was it reported on by the BBC before it had even happened? What's all that about? Did you know that those towers, so the main ones, the Twin Towers, are the first two steel-structured high-rise buildings ever to collapse like that due to fire? So the first two happened on the same day. And then another one happened. Tower 7 happened a few hours later. Wasn't even hit by a plane. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Makes me wonder, anyway. On that same subject and that tragic event, which took nearly just under 3,000 people, in the wake of September the 11th, why did the US and the UK invade Iraq? In 2003, this was. They did that because they claimed that they believed that they had weapons of mass destruction, which turned out to be false. That's fact. It turned out to be false. There was no weapons of mass destruction. The September the 11th attacks were allegedly carried out by 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists, primarily from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt and Lebanon, not from Iraq. Now, a little add-on, take from this what you will. Iraq has vast oil reserves and is a major oil producer and exporter. Iraq's oil industry is a major source of revenue for the country, with oil exports accounting for a large portion of the government's income. Interesting one, isn't it? Why did that country need to be invaded? None of the 19 alleged Al-Qaeda terrorists were from Iraq. And there was no weapons of mass destruction. But their oil is a major source of revenue for them. Okay, question 8. These are CCTV questions. Why were the CCTV cameras not working when Princess Diana's car went into the French tunnel? From the hotel, on the way to the tunnel, and in the tunnel, there was CCTV along the route. Don't know if there was CCTV in the tunnel, but regardless, there was CCTV on the journey. Why was none of it working or on? And when Jeffrey Epstein topped himself in prison, when he was supposedly being guarded and checked on, why was the CCTV not working there as well? Now, this is a man who had been charged, was being held in a prison, and he knows of a lot of powerful people that were doing the dodgy stuff that he was doing. The famous Prince Andrew interview. So was he such a threat? He could have done a bargain. He could have done a deal and revealed some names, some very big high-profile names, lessened his own sentence. But who are these names? There's rumours of big names, isn't there? So isn't it funny that CCTV wasn't working? Oh, and the guards weren't there to check. I think one was asleep. Come on. Well, hey, I'm just asking the questions here. I don't know the answers. On CCTV, why was one of the most heavily guarded buildings on the planet not able to show any clear footage of a plane hitting it? That building is the Pentagon. There is a very, very grainy, like it was filmed with a potato, explosion. You can't see a plane. You just see, it's like 4 frames per second for one of the most heavily guarded, surveillanced buildings, the Pentagon in the world. They've got no footage of a plane hitting it. They claim to. You can't see a plane. You see an explosion. And also, why was the Pentagon hit by whatever it was? It was hit, wasn't it? By something. Don't know, there's no footage of it being a plane, but it's hit by something. And also, comes in at an angle. The explosion's in at a funny angle. I mean, for a plane to come in and hit and go in like that from the sky, I mean, just doesn't make sense. Whether it was hit by a plane or something else, or there's an explosion, whatever. Why was the damage and the impact zone in an area which was closed for renovation? That part of the Pentagon was closed, being renovated. So who gives a crap about that area anyway? Lots and lots of questions. They make you wonder. Make me wonder anyway. Like I said at the beginning, like, just been thinking while I've been off, like, about a couple of cases, and it's got me thinking about more things that I've wondered over the years, and I thought, you know what? How many other people have thought these things? How many other people think like I do? Like I said, this ain't conspiracy theory tinfoil hat day. This isn't the paranoid android channel. The circumstances around the questions I'm asking are quite suspicious to me. It just feels like an agenda with a lot of these questions: cover-ups, control, power, greed, saving your own skin. Just going through some of them. Yeah. I want to live my life being true to myself and saying what I think, and I'll always say what I think. So much dodgy stuff goes on. But like I said, they're just questions. They're not accusations, just questions. And I am very curious if any of you have asked these same questions. Has anyone got any answers? If you've got any answers, please get them on a postcard. No, I'm joking. No one really uses postcards anymore. Leave your comments. I've got two more questions, obviously, but leave your comments to what you think. Have you thought these questions? Do you think outside the box? Do you think that we're often lied to? Let me know down in the comments. And if you've got any answers, wonderful. I'd love to know the answers to a lot of these questions. Right, number 9, Nicola Bulley. In the Nicola Bulley case, why did the senior investigating officer, the chief constable, and the assistant chief constable, who, and I quote, took a high-profile role in the search for Nicola Bulley, all retire or die? Say that again. All retire or die within a couple of months of the COP report and Peter Falding's revelations about him saying he found Nicola Bulley coming out. Obviously, a lot of you came on this channel because of the Nicola Bulley case. If you've not seen the interview with Peter Falding, it's on the Nicola Bulley playlist. But 3 of the top dogs at Lancashire Police retired or died within a couple of months of that report and Peter Falding's revelations about him finding her coming out. Have you ever really sat down and thought about that? Furthermore, actually, that BBC documentary, yeah? Nothing in there about, from the family, about what Peter Falding had said. Nothing. Wouldn't you say something about, like, even if you didn't believe him, wouldn't you say, like, something about it? Just ignored, like he never said anything. So that's that. I think it was 7 or 8 weeks that they retired and or died. Right, question 10. When COVID-19 burst onto the scene and changed the landscape of the world, where everybody was made to feel terrified, isolated and full of anxiety, and alone as well, Why were we told that having a single vaccine will give us immunity? Okay, it was a single vaccine, then it was a booster at winter. Okay, I'll give them that. But originally it was a single vaccine will give you immunity, only to find out, and then the booster, only to find out that the reality is that many people have had well over half a dozen jabs. I know people that have had 7, 8 jabs. Which actually, in many cases, have led to people having more health problems than they did before. So people that have had loads of COVID jabs, a lot of people feel worse now than they did before. Loads of different long-term illnesses. A lot of people regret having the jab. Don't want to scare you if you've had it, but that is just the reality of it. People have had it, and a lot of people regret it. I remember my mum saying to me, "Will you do it for me?" She asked me if I'll do it for her, and I said, "No, Mum, I'm not having it." I said, "I'll see how it goes. I'll see how it manifests and what the reaction is. How people are after they've had the jabs, and my God, am I glad I didn't have it. Yeah, I'll stay away from you. I'll stay away from anybody who doesn't want me to go near them because I've not been vaccinated, but I'm not being vaccinated." Interesting. Well, there you go. There you have it. 10 big questions that I ponder, and they may make you think more. Leave your comments down below. What do you think? What do you think to all those questions? Leave in the comments questions that you have. I'd love to read them, and I will get back to as many comments as I can. We're on the road. I say we because this is our channel. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers, and when we hit 20,000, I've got a really, really, really exciting video for you. It's different. It's very, very different, but it's going to be mega. So hit subscribe, like this video. YouTube likes a good like. I mean, I don't know how much YouTube's going to like this video. I doubt this will get pushed around the algorithm, but give it a like. Like I said, leave your comments, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. And I do look forward to reading what you have to say. So there you have it. There you have it. I don't trust a lot of what I hear or what I read in this world that we live in. And one bit of advice I'd give to everybody is just question everything. Just question everything, and don't always believe what you're told in the mainstream media. Because I do believe there's often an agenda out there, and controlling how people think and feel, I do believe is a real thing. Anyway, let's take these windows off while I over and out. Thank you very much again. Always appreciate when people come and check out one of my videos. It's not as sunny anymore. The last few videos I've done have been pointing outside to how nice it is, but it's a little bit overcast. So, whatever you do today, have a great day, and as always, peace out.